Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we have yet more Apex Legends. It feels weird to be posting videos on this channel that are not Call of Duty related, but to be perfectly honest, there really isn't a whole lot going on with Black Ops 4 as of right now. We keep getting teased that new content and updates will be coming soon, and a somewhat credible source has leaked that 2 new Black Ops Pass maps are going to be coming down the pipeline, but we already kind of knew about this stuff, right? I mean, we all know that Black Ops Pass maps are coming soon. We're due for them, for crying out loud. And they keep saying that yes, Season 3 is coming to Blackout, then new updates are going to be coming to multiplayer and zombies, but we keep waiting for them, right? We're just waiting for these things to actually happen, and in the meantime, Respawn Entertainment, who of course are the people who made COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2, well, suddenly they're releasing a new Battle Royale game that has been taking the world by storm, and today we got some pretty incredible news from Vince Zampella about the future of not only this game, but the Titanfall franchise. Now, really quickly, for those who don't know, I mentioned how they are responsible for Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2. I want to give you guys a quick backstory regarding that. Vince Zampella is the man who is often credited for creating the entire Call of Duty franchise. If it weren't for this man, we probably wouldn't be playing Call of Duty to this day. He was part of the original staff on 2015, which was the name of a studio that was responsible for Medal of Honor Allied Assault. And after that game came out, they had some trouble with EA, and they decided to leave EA and form Infinity Ward and partner with Activision, and it was him and his team that created the first ever Call of Duty game. They then went on to make Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4, and Modern Warfare 2, but then they had a huge legal dispute with Activision over the rights to the Call of Duty franchise because Vince and his team believed they owned the rights to Call of Duty and they wanted to basically break away from Activision, and ultimately that resulted in Vince and most of his team leaving Infinity Ward and leaving Activision and then forming Respawn Entertainment, who of course is responsible for the entire Titanfall franchise. They decided to re-partner up with EA, and the rest is pretty much history. Well, because of all this, because of the popular games that Vince and his colleagues have made over the years, they have a bit of a cult following, and pretty much there are so many people out there who just adore everything that the studio makes, including Apex Legends. The biggest downside to this game would be that it appears to have taken the place of Titanfall 3, but today, Vince has announced that they will be working on, quote, more Titanfall later in the year, and that they're excited to be able to experiment with this crazy universe. So that's some pretty good news right there, right? I mean, a lot of us assumed that Apex Legends was going to be the final game in the entire Titanfall universe, and considering that has virtually nothing to do with Titans, pilots, and wall running, it was a bit of a disappointment for hardcore Titanfall fans. To put that into context, you guys know how upset everybody was when they realized that Blackout was going to be replacing the single-player campaign in Black Ops 4? Well, yesterday, Titanfall fans thought that Apex Legends was going to replace all of Titanfall 3 entirely, including the campaign, the multiplayer, whatever third extra game mode they may actually have. It was a pretty sad day for hardcore Titanfall fans, but at the same time, it was also a pretty good day because lots of people really seem to be enjoying Apex Legends. The biggest downside to this news, I would say, is as of right now, we have absolutely no idea what they have planned or what they may be working on. When they say they're going to be working on more Titanfall soon, that can mean Titanfall 3, it can mean that comic books are coming, it can mean that maybe a movie is going to be happening or an animated series of some sort. Heck, for all we know, they could be adding more content to Titanfall 2, though that seems pretty unlikely considering they haven't touched that game in ages. What he said left the door open for pretty much any possibility. We really have no idea what they mean. All we know is that some form of Titanfall content is going to start being worked on at some point later on in the year, but still, it's pretty good news for Titanfall fans who thought that maybe Apex Legends was going to be the final game in the entire Titanfall franchise. Now, one of the really cool things about Apex Legends is this game is essentially one giant marketing campaign for that Titanfall franchise, right? I mean, with it being free to play and with so many people talking about it and experiencing it, it's still the biggest game right now on both Twitch as well as YouTube. There are so many new eyes on the Titanfall franchise as a result of this game, which may result in more people going back to play the original games. So if you still play the original Titanfall or Titanfall 2, you may see a spike in the player base over the course of the coming weeks. And this also may result in a lot more people buying Titanfall 3 if and when that game ever actually gets made and ever actually comes out. Now, in yesterday's video, I told you guys that I think Apex Legends has a huge uphill battle ahead of it, and I still think that is true, and I want to discuss that a bit more here in today's video, because with Battlefield 5's new Battle Royale mode coming out next month, along with Fortnite Season 8 coming out later this month, and of course Season 3 of the Black Ops 4 Blackout content coming out soon as well, there is definitely going to be a lot of competition for this game. Now obviously Apex Legends has the advantage of being free to play, and it's also set within the Titanfall universe, and it's made by Respawn Entertainment, who of course has a huge cult following dating back to when they made the original Call of Duty games. Now even with all these advantages, I still feel as though Apex Legends has an uphill battle ahead of them, right? Because keep in mind, these are all games in the same genre, and they're all competing for players. Even though this game is technically free, and it's going to have all the downloads in the world, and has a ton of marketing behind it, between the YouTubers and the live streamers, the fact that it's Titanfall, and it's Respawn Entertainment, and it's backed by EA, like, it has a ton of hype behind it, but still, it's going to be competing for your hours, like pretty much every other game out there is, right? Every game competes to try to keep your butt in your seat playing their game, as compared to all the other games out there. And with Apex Legends being free to play, they don't care how many downloads they get. I mean, obviously, it's a pretty big deal to have millions, I think, of unique players already, but that doesn't really matter because the game is free to play. What they care about is how much money we are spending on microtransactions, and to get money off microtransactions, they have to get as many people playing the game long term as they possibly can. And that's going to be difficult, once again, with competitors like Blackout and Fortnite and PUBG and every other freaking game that's coming out over the course of the next couple of months. So it's going to be really interesting. That's why I say this game has an uphill battle ahead of it. It's a free-to-play game, which is awesome, but at the same time, it has to put out as much content as the paid games to try to keep above water, which is going to be pretty difficult if the microtransactions don't start rolling in over the course of the first couple weeks and months. So it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks and months for this game, and who knows, this could actually be the next big game out there. This could be the next Blackout for all intents and purposes. And the reason why I say Blackout is because Fortnite was already established, right? PUBG was already established, and then Blackout came out, and we weren't sure how good it was going to be, but then it became up there in the upper echelon of Battle Royale games. Apex Legends could be that. Apex Legends could be the next VR game out there, but again, it has some pretty tough competition ahead of it, and I would love to hear what you guys think down there in the comment section below. Do you think this is going to be the next big game? Do you think it's going to be a fun, middle-of-the-road game for a lot of people for a while, or do you think it's going to fade away pretty quickly? Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments, but really quickly, if you guys are looking for my updated impressions of the game, I will say that the overall connectivity and the feel of the game has gotten a lot better here on day 2 as compared to day 1. My biggest complaints for the game on day 1 were that the gunplay and the movement mechanics left a lot to be desired, and I showed you guys plenty of examples of that in yesterday's video, but it turns out that a lot of those inconsistencies came from bad network lag and the servers being flooded on day 1. I will say, today the game feels much better than it did yesterday, though I'm still sticking to my guns when I say that I wish this game had better gunplay and better movement. I wish in general all the controls were a little bit tighter. I think the best way I can describe it, and it's so hard to describe how something feels in a video game, it feels like there's a huge dead zone as I try to move, as I try to shoot, as I try to aim or do anything. And I know there are options to adjust all that, but I've tried all the options. I can't get over the fact that for some reason when I play this game, it feels like there's a bit of a dead zone and things just aren't as tight or as fluid as they feel in other games. And I hate to bring up the COD example, but COD to me feels a lot better in terms of shooting mechanics. Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5 feel a lot better. I would also say that the original Titanfall, I was wrong about this after going back and watching more footage of it, but the original Titanfall and Titanfall 2 have pretty similar gunplay mechanics, but even then I would say that they're not as tight or as refined as some of the other games that have come out over the course of the past couple of years. So I would really like to see the gunplay improved a little bit, though I will say it's not terrible. Like, it's not the worst gunplay ever by any stretch of the imagination, but it definitely does leave a lot to be desired, and the movement is really inconsistent at times. Like, when you're sliding down a hill, that feels fantastic. It's like the fastest, smoothest game ever, but then other times, it feels like you're running in mud, even though you're not, which is weird. That may have something to do with the network connection, and maybe the frame drops. I really have no idea, but overall, the inconsistencies between the gunplay and the movement are still my biggest problems with the game. But aside from that, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, I really do like the class-based abilities and the characters that we find here in this game. I think this is what's going to separate Apex Legends from the other big BR games out there, and I understand that Apex Legends is not the first game to have class-based abilities in Battle Royale. It's not whatsoever, but I think they do a really good job of it, and I think that we're only scratching the surface when it comes to how powerful these abilities can actually be. Here's a really good example of what I'm talking about here. So in this match, my teammate and I both get put down upstairs, and our third teammate decides to place a portal downstairs and outside. She runs upstairs to try to kill the player that put us down. She places down another portal, and then we're able to use that portal to go outside and safely get revived. A short time after that, we end up finding the person that put us down earlier, and I was able to finish them off, and this is just a really good example of how these different abilities can work within this game. Now, I will say that a lot of the abilities are kind of similar. They're like fire and forget, like blow up different areas of the map and stuff like that, but the abilities are really interesting, and just like with the Black Ops 4 multiplayer, there's always room in the future for them to change up these abilities or add new characters to the game. They've already confirmed that more characters are going to be coming later on down the pipeline, and I think that's what's going to separate this game from the other ones out there. Like, you look at Fortnite, that's a very different BR game as compared to Blackout, and Blackout is a very different BR game as compared to this one. The odd man out, at least as of right now, would be PUBG, because PUBG and Blackout are so similar, and more people are playing Blackout right now, but at any point, PUBG can make a huge comeback. Not to mention, Battlefield 5's BR game is right around the corner. This is a super flooded market, and to stand out, you have to do something different, and I think the class abilities that we find here in Apex Legends is what separates this game from the other ones, and it may actually succeed as a result of those different characters and different character abilities. Not to mention as well, the microtransactions are also pretty good. I talked about them in my previous video, but the reason why these are so good, we actually just found this out last night, the reason why the microtransactions in this free-to-play game are so good is because Respawn Entertainment is actually controlling all of them. EA has no control whatsoever, though Respawn has said that at any point EA could take over and do whatever they want to do. They are the publisher at the end of the day, but as of right now, Respawn has full control of the microtransactions here in Apex Legends, and the game is definitely doing better as a result. So hint, hint, Activision, maybe let Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer control their own microtransactions in their games, and maybe fans would like that as a result. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Apex Legends. This is my second video on the game so far, and I don't see myself really doing too many more videos on it in the future. I will say the game has smoothed out a lot since day one, and there is definitely a lot going for this game, while at the same time it's going to be fighting an uphill battle, and I hope to see certain aspects of the game refined and retuned over the course of the coming weeks and months. People always say, you know, the game just came out, why are you being so critical? It's like, well, that's what you do when the game first comes out. You talk about what you like and what you don't like about the game, and so far, my biggest gripes are the fact that the shooting and the movement do still feel like they leave a lot to be desired, but the rest of the game is pretty solid, all things considered. The map itself, it's growing on me, but I think the example I used in my original video is that it feels like someone put it together in Halo's Forge world, and it still feels like that, but then again, if you look back at the original maps from like Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2, they all kind of looked like that. It's kind of like the art style of the Titanfall universe, so to each their own on that, I suppose, but again, I would like to see the weapons get tightened up a little bit, as well as the movement, and just improve the overall connectivity, as well as the consistency with the frame drops on console. I know PC is apparently freaking fantastic and gorgeous the whole way through, but on console anyway, if they could smooth those things out, I think this game could actually have a pretty decent future. But again, it's going to have a lot of competition, and it's going to be very interesting to see how things are going to play out. But regardless of what happens, guys, regardless if this becomes the next Fortnite or if this becomes the next what game failed recently, Realm Royale or any of the other BR games, regardless of what happens, I think we're all just happy that Titanfall is going to be continued in the future in one way or another, even if we have absolutely no idea what they currently have planned. But once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your thoughts and feedback on this game down there in the comments, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.